Okay, guys, let's get started. Okay, so I looked at the two most important sections left in this chapter that I definitely wanted to hit on before the end. And today's one of them. You will be doing a lot of this in Algebra 2, right, Allie? Okay, and the next one. So you have to know how to do this. Do you have to master it? You need to be able to do it. You're going to have a quiz on it on Friday. Do you have to be able to do this in your sleep? No. You have to solve equations and isolate the variable and be able to do positives and negatives and stuff like that in your sleep. This stuff, you just have to, know how to do it when they ask you to do something. All right, so let's get started. This is a little bit more intense than the last stuff you did. In fact, today and tomorrow are going to be pretty intense. Not going to lie to you. So you're going to need to, just like last time, buckle up your seatbelt, relax, sit back. You may have to watch the video a couple times, especially if I keep talking. So you may have to pause, rewind, think about it, take it all in. It's a little much, but definitely take some notes. All right, let's get going. I'm going to just write down the notes and the examples. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining why, because I can see all of your eyes glazing over and stuff. Okay, so we're completing the square. Okay, some quadratic equations, that's such as a squared plus 6a plus 2 equals 0 cannot be solved by factoring. And what I mean by factoring, we're talking about, remember those FOIL and stuff like that? They're saying it cannot be done. I'll have to pause the video because I didn't have my red pen. Okay, sorry. All right, so you can't factor this out, right? Because there's only two, it's either 2 times 1 or 1 times 2 over here. We're talking about FOIL, and neither one of those is going to give you 6. Remember FOIL. Okay, so you're going to be using this formula. Star x squared plus bx plus b over 2 squared. Now don't freak out, this isn't that bad. In fact, for homework, I'm just doing the basics. I think you're going to stay in just section A for this section, part A. So when I say basics, I mean the basics. Your Algebra 2 teacher can worry about where y'all left off. Okay, here we go. So steps to do this. Now, kind of like in the previous stuff, you're going to need to refer back to these steps, trust me. So steps to make perfect square quadratic equations. We're in the classroom, this would be so much easier. But we're not. All right, step 1. You're going to write the equation in the form ax squared plus bx equals c. Now, that's when you're going to actually when you're completing the square, you need to have it like this, okay? All right, remember that c was this. Remember, it used to look like this. Remember that? Okay, so now the C is on the other end, okay? All right, step 2. You're going to complete the square by adding, now here's what's weird, okay? b divided by 2 squared to both sides of the equation. Okay, you're going to complete the square by adding this right here, this thing, to both sides of the equation. Got it? Okay, that's what I said, write some notes and stuff like that. All right, when they say b, they're referring to this number right there. And y'all have done this. Y'all have done this. You know what the b is. So don't freak out. So the b here is just that number. Okay? Part 3. Factor the trinomial. Y'all done trinomials. That's a trinomial. 3 terms, 1, 2, and 3. Remember, a trinomial has 3 terms. There you go. Okay, that's what I said. Remember this. All right, step 4. Apply the square root property, which y'all just did. Well, hopefully you all did. And then 5, solve. Okay? Those are your steps on doing this. The first section in A, they're not even asking you to do the solving. That's the second part in section A. Okay, we're going to do a lot of examples. The first part is just saying, what is it that you would be adding? That's it. You don't even have to solve it. You don't have to factor the trinomial or apply the square root property. That's why I said, I think because this is a little mind-boggling for you guys. I know it is. And you're not with me. So we're just going to do the basics so you have an introduction to this and a basic understanding. And then that way, when you do get to Algebra 2, I believe you're going to hear your teacher mention this and you're going to be like, I think I remember hearing about this. Now, they're not going to expect you to remember everything. Okay, they're not. They know that you're going to have geometry and everything else in between there. But they are going to expect you to kind of have some recollection of it. Okay? And you can say, yes, I remember those words, even if you don't remember how to do it. That's okay. It is A-okay. Remember, we're just getting by right now and learning a little along the way. Go ahead and open up your books to page 497. 497. Y'all was up at school earlier today. First time in a long time. I kind of miss it. Didn't think I would, but I do. I miss it. All right, look at number 1. Okay, the directions say, what number must be added to complete the square? They didn't say to go ahead and complete the square, so we're not going to have to do that right now. They just want to know what number must be added. So they give you x squared plus 8x. And remember right here, you have to complete the square by adding something to both sides. So your equation would look like this. It would be like this equals 0, okay, or something like that. They're giving you, in the first part of section A, just this. And what you're doing today, right now, is just step 2. That's it, step 2. We're not having to do 3, 4, and 5 yet. All right, so step 2 is all we're doing. We're trying to find out. We're going to complete the square by adding this to both sides. When they say both sides, they're talking about to this and on this side. The problem in the book does not give you an equals and stuff. So all you're doing is looking for what you're going to add to this side. Let me show you how it's done. Step 2, complete the square by using this right here. So we're using that right there. What is B? B is 8. Remember? See, B is the one with just the X. 8 is the one with just the X. This over here would be the 8. So, 8 goes there, and we just, 2 in the square. What's 8 divided by 2? 4 squared. What's 4 squared? 16. That's your answer. So if we were going to do 3, 4, and 5, now you don't have to write this down, but I'm going to explain this to you. If you're going to do 3, 4, and 5, you would, after doing this, you would then go back and add this number right there. And then you would, factor it out. And you know what that is. X plus 4 times x plus 4. See, that's what you're doing. We're just doing that middle step. We're looking for this number that's going to be added to that so we can complete the square. Let's do another one. Again, for this section, we're just going to step 2 before we do 3, 4, 5 so you have a good understanding. And your book really does an excellent job of that, like moving it real slow. All right, so number 3, they give you this, x squared plus 16x. What we are looking for is step 2, what we're adding right here to complete the square. Okay, according to step 2, we're going to use this little quote formula. Remember, this is your b. So then I'm going to put 16. It's always divided by 2, by the way. Always divided by 2 and always squared. 16 divided by 2 is 8, so it's going to be 8 squared now. 8 times 8 is 64, not 16. That's 8 times 2. 8 squared is 8 times 8. So 64 would be added to that if we were going to do the full process and do 3, 4, and 5. But, lucky for y'all, you're just having to find out what number is going to be added to that. And I'm showing you don't have to write this down, I'm just showing you what it would look like. And then you would do your factoring. And so on and so on. So that's your answer. See, that's not too bad. Let's do another. Okay, they give you this. We're looking for what are we adding here to complete the square. So, step 2, we use this little formula thing. This is our b. So then I have negative 2 divided by 2 squared. I want to make sure I draw a little arrow. Okay, so what's negative 2 divided by 2? Negative 1 squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. There's your answer. That would then be added to that to complete the square. All right, let's do number 7. I think you are starting to get the hang of it. See, I'm not even with you. I think you are. Oops, I forgot to put a question mark there. Again, we're looking at what are we adding to both sides, if we had an equal sign and everything, to complete the square. All right, now this one's going to be a little weird. These were all perfect, just evenly divided, square it, you're good to go. This one, not so much. B divided by 2 squared. All right, we're going to substitute the b for the, or 3 for that b, or whatever, you know what I'm saying. Now notice here, 3 cannot be evenly divided by 2, but y'all have done this. That is applied to both of these things, the top number and the bottom number. Or you could say this, right? Because that's 3 over 2 times itself twice. So 3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. And there's your answer. So therefore, this would eventually look like that. But for right now, all it's asking you to do is what is that number that you're going to be adding to both sides. All right, 9. X squared minus 11x. Again, we're looking for what we're adding to both sides to complete the square. B over 2 squared. Here's your B. So that's negative 11 divided by 2 squared. Okay, you can apply that square to both of those, or you can just say negative 11 over 2 times 11 over 2. Negative 11 over 2. All right, so negative 11 times negative 11 is 121. 2 times 2 is 4. So there's your answer. And this eventually would look like this because you're just adding it to here to complete the square. Notice these are all perfect. Whoops, sorry. These are all perfect squares. You notice that? That's 8 times 8. 1 times 1. 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. 11, negative 11 over 4. It could also be, but see this right here. Okay, you get it. All right. All right, 11. Okay, now here's a crazy one. It's x squared plus 3 over 2x, and we're looking for what we have to add to both sides. Okay. Notice I have a fraction for a b. It's okay, Xavier, you got this. That fraction is a b. Guys, I ain't kidding. It's going to look like this. B is a fraction. It goes on top. Carry over that 2, and we're squaring it. What that's saying is, y'all, 3 over 2 divided by 2 over 1 squared. Remember, that's a whole number, so to speak. 2 over 1. So look at it again. This is your b. It's going to go on top. Divided by 2. And we're going to make sure we don't forget about that square. So what this is saying is 3 over 2 divided by 2 over 1. What's the rule on dividing fractions? Multiply and flip the second. Oh, I didn't flip it. What is it? Keep, change, flip. KCF. Oh, chicken. I miss fried chicken so bad. Okay. Keep, change, flip. There you go. All right, so now we multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. But we got to remember to square it. Remember to square the top number and the bottom number. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. There you go. That was a little ugly. I know fractions make y'all crazy. I know. As soon as I saw it, I thought mainly of Xavier, but several of the rest of y'all that sit there quiet and let him take the fall on the whole love-hate relationship with fractions. It's going to be okay. Christian's over there saying, I'm not in the classroom. She doesn't see my face. She doesn't see me turn red. He is laughing right now. Y'all know he is. Okay, so here we go. That is that first part of section A. Okay? Now let's go to the second part of section A. Now there's only 2 examples I'm going to do, but they're hairy. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and flip this page over to a whole blank side, just in case. All right, 15. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so they give you, I want to make sure my notes were on par. A squared plus 2a equals 15. Okay, this is going to be step 1. I'll write that in red. Okay, so the directions say solve by completing the square. Now we're going to do the whole thing. We're going to do, no. Here we go. We're going to do the whole thing. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 now. See, y'all just been doing 1 and 2, but now we're doing 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so hold on to your seat. All right. So step 1 says make sure the equation is in this format. ax squared plus bx equals c. Write the equation in this format. You got to make sure it's in that format. And it is in that format. So that's step 1. Step 2 is what y'all been doing. Completing the square by doing this and adding it to both sides of the equation. So let's do it. Here we go. So this is step 2. I'm going to put a little 2 there. Remember, this is b, so we're going to be substituting there. So I have 2 over 2 squared. We just got through doing all those examples, so you know what you're doing. 2 divided by 2 is 1 squared. 1 squared is 1. Okay, we just did step 2. Step 3 is, oh, we're not completely done. We're going to, well, let me finish step 2. Step 2, we got to add it to both sides. So now I'm going to go back and rewrite that equation, and I'm adding that 1 to both sides. I'm adding it here and here. I'm adding that to here and here. You may need to pause that and take a look at it. Here's the original equation. We got this number, and step 2 says we're adding it to both sides. This side and this side. So we take that number, we're adding it here, and we're adding it here. Okay. So, what's 15 plus 1? 16. I'm rewriting my equation. Okay, that is step 2. Step 3 is factor the trinomial. Factor the trinomial. All right, guys, here is your trinomial. See, 1, 2, 3. 3 terms. 1, 2, 3. That makes it a trinomial. We're going to factor it out. So step 3. This is it. So factoring out means it looks like this. Equals 16. Now this is that whole FOIL thing. So a times a is going to give me a squared. 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. 1a and 1a will give me 2a. And y'all know what this is. Now, are these the same? A plus 1. They're exactly the same. So I'm going to rewrite it. This is why you need your notes. Like this. Because it's the same. When you're doing your homework, have this sitting in front of you and go step by step. Okay, so we've now factored out. We've done step 3. We factored the trinomial. Step 4 is apply the square root property. This is what y'all did yesterday. So step 4 is we're going to apply the square root property. So here is what's left of my equation, and guess what? I'm going to square root everything. Square root of this is a plus 1. What's square root of 16? 4. Remember yesterday we have to isolate the variable, right? Except for the fact there's one thing we forgot. There's a big rule. Well, I forgot to mention. When you take this out, we need to apply this plus and minus. Okay? I'll put a big star there. Don't ask why right now, just do it. Okay? And by the way, I'm considering letting y'all have an open note quiz on Friday or open book. Not open app, not open math app. I said open book or open note. Did y'all hear that? If I'm being generous, y'all got to respect that. No math apps. Okay, so then we have to move this 1 over. How do we do that? By subtracting 1 on both sides. So here's what it's going to look like. This is going to be a equals -1 plus or minus 4. See that plus and minus? We're bringing it down here. That -1 is right there. So watch what I do. Allie was in here and she saw my arrows and laughed. She goes, oh my gosh, the arrows. We're going to rewrite this, but watch, I'm covering up that minus. A equals -1 plus 4. Oop, there's a negative. A equals -1 minus 4. See, plus minus, plus minus. See that? Remember yesterday, y'all did this. If it was over, if it's greater than 0, you did the plus and the minus. Do you remember that? Okay, that's where that came from. That 16, that's over 0. That's greater than 0, so that's why you have that plus and minus there. Okay, so what is -1 plus 4? 3. What is -1 and -4? -5. There is your answer. That's it. Okay, so you may want to rewind that and watch it step by step again, especially right here. This is where it gets crazy. I think up until here, y'all are going to be like, yeah, I get that. I get that. Even this, where you add it to both sides, I think you're going to come up, yeah, it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be right about here, remembering that plus and minus. Okay, that's a common mistake. It really is. That's why I'm thinking at this point, I'm going to probably let y'all have open notes. If you want to go back and take notes on yesterday's video because of this, but be my guest. You can. I don't even care if you like take screenshots with your phone. That's not cheating. What's cheating is having someone else do the work for you. That's unethical, not Christian-like. But using your notes and your book and everything, and you doing the work, guys, I don't have a problem with that with this chapter. I really don't. Okay? So, do that. Okay, so let's do one more, and then I'm going to set you free. 17. Again, if you need to go back and look at 15 again, step by step, go ahead. All right, so they give you the equation x squared plus 4x equals 5. This is step 1. Oh, and by the way, that solves, this would have been step 5. Right there. Where we solve with those arrows. Okay, so step 1 tells us to make sure this is in ax squared plus bx equals c format. And it's already there for you. I'm not going to have you do section B in your book because then it gets really crazy. This is all I'm expecting from y'all right now. All right, so step 2, b over 2 squared. Remember, this is your b. So we're going to substitute that. 4 divided by 2 squared. This is going to be a little bit easier, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. All right. We're not even done yet. So now we're going to add this to both sides. We're going to add this to both sides. So I'm rewriting x squared plus 4x, and I'm adding 4 here, and I'm adding 4 here. So I'm taking that, I'm adding it on this side of the equal sign and this side of the equal sign. What is 5 plus 4? 9. So x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 9. Okay, now step 3 was to factor it out. Equals 9. All right, so I have x and x. Would be 4 times 1, 1 times 4, 2 times 2. You should write it out there because 4 times 1 when added would give us 5, right? So it can't be that. So 2 times 2 gives us 4, but 2 plus 2 gives us 4 right here. So it's going to be this. Remember how to do that, factoring. Now, aren't these the same? X plus 2, they're the same. So x plus 2 squared equals 9. Okay, so step 4 is applying that square root property. Squared equals 9. Apply the square root property. The square root of x plus 2 squared is just x plus 2 equals square root of 9. That's greater than 0. So it's going to be that plus and minus 3. Okay? All right, we got to isolate the variable. So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. And I get x equals negative 2 plus or minus 3. All right, so step 5 is to solve. Here go my arrows. So this is going to be x equals negative 2, cover up that plus 3, and then down here this arrow is going to be x equals negative 2 minus 3. See the plus and the minus, plus and minus. So x equals negative 2 plus 3 is 1, comma, negative 2 and negative 3 is negative 5. You are done. Got it? Okay, again, I'm going to end there. If you need to rewind this, take notes, whatever, pause, you may. But I want to let y'all get started. You must show your work. Same as that quiz. I better see all of these steps for that quiz. Okay? Or like I said, I'm not going to count it. You're not going to use some math app and say, oh, I'm done in like 2 seconds. That ain't going to fly with me anymore. I figured out what y'all are doing. Don't forget who your teacher is. All right, so you're going to do numbers 2 through 18 even. Super spy. Just remember that. I can find where all of you live. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 problems. If you need help, you let me know. It's due Thursday. Seriously, I can't reteach it because I'll tell you exactly the same stuff that's in the video. I tell you nothing different. But if you're like, Miss Rogers, I'm confused about this part of your explanation, or I'm confused about this, or Miss Rogers, am I even doing this correctly? I can look over it and say, I'm not going to look over your entire paper, but if you got the first 2 correct, if you wanted to make sure you're doing it right, and I looked over the first 2, oh yeah, you're doing it great, then I know you're going to be fine the rest of the way. Like this one, if you do like 16, and you're like, Miss Rogers, just let me know if I'm doing this right. I'll totally tell you if you're on the right track or not, okay? But don't get frustrated and say, I give up, I quit, I don't understand. Okay? Because, you know, I don't like that. I don't like quitting. Okay, you have a quiz on Friday on this stuff, chapter 12. Okay? All right, guys, no Excel. I'm assigning. It is there on the product page if y'all need it to study. It's all on you. Okay? Bye.